Fantastic. Okay, again, welcome to our StreetText demo. Whether you're new, a current member, or a past trial, we're excited that you're here. You probably have many questions, concerns. You might be overwhelmed with launching ads, creating a drip campaign, or you absolutely have no idea what StreetText does. No worries, we're here for you. We're going to walk through our platform, let you in on some tips and tricks, and explain the almighty and powerful split test. So, are you in the right place? There's 3 people that find themselves in this webinar. Number 1, you're either thinking of starting a trial with StreetText, or you've heard of us through Grapevine and want to see what we're all about, or learn more before you hit that trial button. You can start the trial, get connected, and use the full 7 days to your advantage and not feel like the clocks are ticking. Connect with your coach or sign up for our mastermind. It's the first step in creating a solid foundation and learning how StreetText operates. And of course, we're excited you're here. It's honestly a great starting point to begin your journey with StreetText. Secondly, you might have even started a trial, launched an ad, ran a split test, or even seen leads come in. And now you're thinking, now what do I do? Is my ad performing well? I've gotten tons of leads and I just don't know what to do. Help me. Again, we're glad you're here and we do hear you. We will go over everything. We'll help guide you through the frustrating times and celebrate your wins together. You're not alone. You'll relearn those building blocks and pick up some new things like the importance of running a split test, understanding the power of how Facebook's algorithm works, and how you can have more powerful ads using proper verbiage and proper imagery. Lastly, you could be looking for a quick refresher, whether you're a current member coming back for those building blocks like I previously mentioned, or you're just a past trial, checking things out again and seeing what's new. If you're any of these 3, we are very happy and glad that you are here, and we're going to do a thorough walkthrough of everything and then give you a chance to hop into your breakout room with someone here. Here's Ira, and he will be taking you through an intro to what StreetText is.
Thanks, Sean, for that. So let's jump right in and let's talk about the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room is the fact that people are using different ways of growing their business. And one of those big ways is social media. It feels like it's like gigantic opportunity, but it also feels like it's a gigantic task where you don't even know where to start, what channels and platforms to use, what type of ads to run, what's a reasonable expectation. If I spend X amount of dollars on ads on Facebook, what's a reasonable expectation, the amount of leads that I'm going to get, as well as, the type of leads I'm going to get, and what's a reasonable expectation on the timeline to convert those leads and the processes and the follow-up that leads to those conversions over time. A lot of us don't even have the proper mindset when it comes to that, but we're going to introduce you to a lot of people that have had great success doing it, and they're sharing kind of what they're doing as they go along with the process. At the end of the day, you can take on the elephant in the room. We're here to tell you as StreetText, we're going to help you take on the elephant in the room. We like to say we're going to give you that elephant one bite at a time. That's how you eat an elephant. You start with one bite at a time. So through your trial process, we're going to walk you through kind of the different bites, and you're going to layer your learning to see what's possible using Facebook ads. So we're going to introduce you to concept after concept. And as you layer that, you're going to be surprised at where you can get over the course of time if you just layer some learnings across that and learn from people who've already paved the success. Get part of our community where you're going to see how people are being successful and what they're doing to be successful. And you're not going to have to guess at it or just watch from the sidelines. So it all comes down to the Facebook Ads Manager. Have you used the Facebook Ads Manager before? The Facebook Ads Manager, otherwise known as the labyrinth of frustration and confusion. If you ever feel like you want to drink early in the day, just try to launch an ad on the Facebook Ads Manager. It's the ever-changing platform that one day you might have figured it out, only to realize that the next day they've completely moved buttons or changed objectives, or it just doesn't function the same day. It can be a very challenging platform to use, so oftentimes that level of frustration leads us to look for different solutions in order to figure out how to utilize it, because it just becomes so frustrating over time, and it's something you always have to keep on top of. So it kind of leaves you in this position. Which of the three do you find yourself in? On one side of the spectrum, you can't figure it out yourself, so you hire somebody who knows it. So hire someone who can run your Facebook ads on your behalf. The problem with this solution is you're at the mercy of their level of expertise. So you, like when you don't know what averages are, you don't know what's a reasonable expectation. If you're not happy with the results that they bring back to you, the only thing you could really do is just tell them that you're not happy with the results that you got. Then they have to go back to the drawing board, but you don't have much control over it. You don't want to be able to see what those results are. You're at the mercy of what their level of expertise is. On the other end of the spectrum, you could become an expert in anything. We believe that you can do anything you put your mind to. The question is should you? Because one of your most valuable assets is time. And there's one thing that we can always be assured of is that the Facebook Ads Manager is always going to be evolving. It's always going to be changing. The buttons are never going to be the same. The platform is going to look different week to week, month to month, year to year. So you're going to have to invest a lot of time to become that Facebook advertising expert. And time, we believe, your most valuable asset should be spent on following up with leads. It should be spent on nurturing relationships. It should be spent in front of people, not in front of a screen trying to figure out why your damn ad won't launch this week. So what is it that StreetText does? StreetText is that in-between solution. We are a do-it-yourself tool, so you're going to be able to do it yourself, and we'll walk you through that process in your trial. But on one side, you don't have to become the expert, or you don't have to hire the expert. And on the other side, you don't have to become the expert. We're going to navigate that process for you. When you start your trial with StreetText, it's going to connect you to your Facebook page. We're going to help you launch our proven templates that we know work. You're going to be able to launch an ad within 30 seconds, set up a split test to help that ad find the right audiences. And within 24 to 48 hours, sometimes 72 hours, depending on how your results look on those ads, you're going to zero in on the ad that's getting you the best result. And then you move from trying to launch an ad on Facebook to I have an ad working on Facebook. Now my problem is, how do I work with these leads to see results? And that's where you should be spending your time. How do I nurture, build relationship, and work with these leads to be able to grow my business in the next little bit? Not how do I just get the ad off the ground? So let's create the problem of I have leads. Now, how do I work with those leads? So what it is we do in a nutshell is we have proven, ready to launch ad templates. So what we are able to do, because we have a variety of users across a variety of markets, is we can test out copy and templates that work. Recently, within the beginning of this year, we did launch an ad that's specifically targeted to downsizers. That ad came out of our creative ad workshop. So what happens is our team comes up with a concept. They ask for volunteers in our StreetText community to test out that ad concept, and they test out different versions of that, different texts of that, different images of that, until they find the version of the ad that works the best. And because we can pull all the stats from those multiple accounts, we can see which ads are converting the best and getting the most leads. And then what we do is we build that into an easy to launch template. So now all of our users can log in under available templates. We have over 30 some odd templates in there. They can click on that ad and have that ad launched within 30 seconds and start seeing the leads come in. So it's not just that, though. If you look here, we are going to help you. You'll see it's not just an ad. This is your entire marketing funnel. So we wanted to pull as many pieces of the puzzle together in one spot to make it a better solution for you. So when you launch an ad with StreetText, you are also launching the entire funnel. So it's not just the ad that you're getting the landing pages. And we're going to talk about those landing pages connections and how they become a little bit more complicated, but you do have an opportunity in trial to try that with an upgrade. It's just a little bit more complicated than it once was. The good news is our dev team's always on top of it. So when Facebook changed it, our dev team was on it and had it changed and ready to go for all of our users. Then once they click on and they come through your ad, our automations are already built into the ad. So the 12 tips ad, for example, in your trial has a 9-month drip campaign connected to it. We have text messages and emails. The text message isn't something that you can use in your trial experience, but as a member, it'll be able to activate your text messages. But those emails and those automations are completely customizable. We want you to get your personality on them, but they're skeletal out in there. You can use our automations, or you can turn off some of our automations and connect it to your CRM if you're used to using your own system. You know, the variety here is that you can choose what works for you. Use us as the CRM exclusively, use a combination of us and your other CRM to follow up with the leads, or turn all of our automations off and do everything up in the CRM that you're familiar with. And then the best thing that we offer is our community. You know, a lot of us drop the ball in our business because we just don't know how to follow up to get our businesses to grow. Our masterminds, our weekly classes, everything that we do teaches you, okay, great, you got the lead, but now how do you follow up and build value with that lead so they start to know, like, and trust you so that it starts to convert and grow your business over time. So where are we going to start in your trial? Here's your next step. And we're going to show you when you log into your dashboard, once you connect Facebook and you get everything connected, you're going to have the option. Now, our system automatically defaults to the ad here, the seller's 12 tips lead ad is the one it'll start building. Know this, we want you to have a good trial experience and understand how to use the system. Don't feel like your clock is ticking the second you start your trial. We'll give you an adequate amount of time to use your trial. So if you go to launch the ad and you're just not ready to launch it, or you have an ad running now, feel free to just go in and pause that ad until you understand a little bit more about things, and you can work with your guide here at StreetText that's going to help you get a good grasp on that next bite of the elephant and help you land on some good results that are indicative to your area. But we have the 3 ads that you're going to be able to use in your trial. The first 2 ads here are the 12 tips seller lead ad and the buyer lead ad. These ads are pretty much ready to go. You're not going to have to do any setup. You can work with them straight into your trial, and your coach can help set you up to optimize that with a split test, which is going to be a very important concept we're going to talk about shortly here. Now, the seller's conversion ad is the one that has the lock button on it, and you have to pay an upgrade on that ad in order to use it. And it's just because that one now requires a more complex setup with Facebook. So what we do is we purchase a domain on your behalf. We can't use one of your existing domains. If you have any, it has to be a domain that we purchase that's used exclusively for these ads through StreetText. And then we help you set that up so that ad works and functions. So in your trial, you can test the door knocking ad where you're asking people for their home values. It's just a $50 upgrade where we're going to set that up for you. If you become a member, that gets deducted off the price of your membership. But if you really wanted to jump in and try that one during your trial, we can totally set you up with it. It's just we'll have to get you through the process of getting it all set up. So when you log into StreetText, the first thing you're going to do, it throws people off a little bit, is connect to your Facebook account. We'll connect to your personal page because that's kind of like your key to open up your Facebook page, your business page, which is going to be where the ads will be showing up, and your ad account. So we connect to your personal page first, then we connect to your business page, which is where the ad's going to be running, and then we connect to your ad account. Now you are going to be responsible for paying for your ads during your trial. We can't give you that for free because Mark Zuckerberg needs to be paid for that. So your ad account will be the one that's paying for the ads as you're running it. So optimize that with your guide and let your guide help you get the best out of that spend by showing you the next bite of the elephant and that split testing process. So if you want to get started right away, these 2 ads is where you would start. The buyer campaign lead ad, and we'll talk about how a lot of our users are realizing that buyers in this market are actually sellers. The pain point for them right now is that they don't know where they're going to move, so they're not selling yet. So if you want to talk to sellers, you need to talk to the people that are looking to buy right now, because the reason they're not selling their house is they're afraid they're going to be homeless if they do. So a lot of our users are seeing, like Janky Patel is one of them. She's seen well over 60 transactions, and she's using buyer ads. So people are starting to understand the value of the buyer ad and the fact that the leads on average come in at a lower price point. But we'll jump into that. The 12 tips ad is the one right out of the gate that gets launched when you start. So what you'll see whenever you launch an ad in StreetText is you'll have our first page here. The first page is always, this is what the ad looks like. So it gives you an ad preview on the right. And the left, if there's anything in the ad that you can edit, will allow you to edit it. Now, we don't change too much of the editing in here because we don't want to stray from the ad that was getting results. In this case, we use a home emoji. Is everyone aware of Facebook's Housing Discriminatory Act? So what that means is anytime you target an area, you automatically have to target 15 miles. So when you build your ad, you want to be aware that an audience bigger than just one city is seeing the ad, and you want to increase the likelihood people are going to click. So you want to make sure you speak to everybody within that 15-mile radius. Once you click through to the next step, you're going to see that we have a Facebook privacy policy that has to go in here. That's just this type of ad requires that to be displayed as they're clicking through the ad. You can add your own, but we put ours in there just in case you don't have one or don't know where to find it. The next step is going to be your targeting. And now what we're going to make you do here and what we're going to ensure you know is that you want to click the drop a pin button as opposed to the targeting locations. And the reason is when you click the drop a pin, you're going to end up here. And that's where we are going to be able to see that 15 miles of influence, and you're going to be able to manipulate it. So if you're in Los Angeles, like this example, you could pull that circle out into the ocean and target your circle to the coast. You can move this out of state lines or provincial lines and make sure it stays within the state or province that you're licensed as well. So this will give you the chance to see that 15 miles. You can also adjust it higher. You can increase the radius of the circle. You just can't decrease the radius of the circle. The 15 miles is the minimum required by the Housing Category Act. So once you just select this is who I want to see my ad, then you're going to end up on our last page of the ad. The last page of the ad is how much are we spending on the ad? The split test, which is vital and important, and we're so glad you're here because if you understand this concept, it'll change everything on Facebook, and we're going to get into it in a moment. You can also launch this ad on Facebook or Instagram. We recommend Facebook for sellers because they're still older on Facebook, and maybe checking off Instagram if you're going to do a buyer's ad as well. Now, estimated commission value is something that you would put in here, and that just helps us estimate the top price you'd ever want to pay for a lead, and we can jump in that more with your guide to help you understand it. But once you launch the ad, we can get you set up to see what the ad looks like. It basically looks like this on Facebook. When they click learn more, it auto populates a form right on Facebook that puts whatever they had put in last as their email, their name, and their phone number, and they just have to click submit. This ad is set up to deliver the 12 tips to them right away as they click through the ad. It also emails them a copy of the 12 tips, and we'll be able to see that in your account so you can get familiar with the 12 tips. And we'll talk about some good follow-up with this. They're asking for 12 tips to sell. So they're pretty much thinking about selling, but they didn't ask for you to land on their doorstep. It's going to be, how do I continue this conversation, continue to offer them value, make sure they got it, and be very light in my approach to this lead because I was just on Facebook scrolling my feed and this interested me and I clicked. I didn't call you to tell you to come to my house and list my house. So don't show up at someone's house on their doorstep saying, hey, I'm right here to list your house. You got to ease into it like any relationship. You got to get know, like, and trust going. So then the other option that you really should consider in your trial is the buyer lead ads. If you position this ad well, you could talk to people that are upgrading in your market. So pick a price point that is usually an upgrade in your market, or pick an amenity that would indicate I have something to sell and now I'm moving up. Or it could be a downgrade. It could be a list of homes with a master bedroom on the main floor. Well, now if I'm thinking about that, I'm obviously thinking about getting older and I probably have something to sell and I'm ready to downgrade in the market. So, if you position this buyer ad really well, you can really get people that are looking to sell and end up with those double-ended transactions. Remember, I talked about Janki Patel. She's had a lot of double-ended transactions because of these buyer ads. So consider that, and your coach or guide will help you get this set up appropriately for the best results. Now, we're going to have Eric go through the unlock the seller conversion ad. So this is that home value door knocking ad. So Eric, can you take us through the unlocking seller conversion ad?
Awesome. Thank you, Ira. So as Ira mentioned, we have the one seller's template, the 12 tips ad, and then we have a buyer template as well. But then we also have an upgradable option. It's $50 and it's going to help you run a seller conversion ad. That $50 is going to help us pay for the domain as well as some back-end setup with you. It does require some extra setup, but but it's definitely one of my favorite ads. It's going to get you leads who raise their hand and they're going to say, hey, I'm looking to sell in 3, 6, 9, 12 months from now, and I'd love to get a home value from you. So it's going to put food on the table quicker. And it's one of our bread and butter ads from when we first became a company. It's going to take that lead through a series of landing pages, and it's a dynamic capture of information. So the first page that the lead is going to see is a page that says, yes, I would like you to send me a property value, analyze my property. The next page is going to say, please provide your address. So some of them will put their address in there and they'll stop there. And it's just out of fear of being bombarded with texts and emails. They want to stay at arm's length until they get to know you a little bit. And that's perfectly fine. We have a lot of agents who post about ways in which they handle those address only leads in our insider group. So definitely check out our insider group for address only examples. But you will get lots of leads who leave you more information. So the next portion after clicking analyze my property, they're going to be prompted to leave their email. And then after that, the next page is about their home itself. So the conditions of the property, any upgrades that you need to know about, and their timeline for selling. And like I said, a lot of them want to stay at arm's length. So they're going to say just curious sometimes. And like I said earlier, that's perfectly fine. They just want to keep their distance for now. Others are going to say 3 months from now, I want to sell. Please help me right away. So then they'll be taken to a page that says, please provide your first name, last name, and phone number. And that's kind of the last page. They click send me my value. And then all that information is stored in your StreetText account. From there, it becomes all about the follow-up, providing that home value to them. Always make sure you check your funnels once you've launched an ad. Know what your funnels are saying and when they're saying it. We want to make sure we're delivering on everything we're promising. So just to recap, you need to decide which ad works best for you. So whether it's that seller's 12 tips ad or the buyer ad, or if we're going to unlock that seller's conversion ad, no matter what you choose, we'll be happy to help you. The next step from there is launching that split test. So Logan here is going to help me explain what a split test is. And then at the end of this demo call, we can help you set up that split test, or we can meet again later to get you help with that. So yeah, that's the next step. I'll pass it off to Logan here to explain the split test.
Awesome. Thanks a lot for that, Eric. And yeah, first and foremost, I really like to make sure that you guys understand we know we're throwing an awful lot at you right away, really quick. And you're not necessarily needing to absorb absolutely everything. This is just meant to kind of step you through and show you kind of what's next. And one of the most important things for us to help you understand is the idea of split testing your ads. And now when I say split test, typically most people not familiar with that terminology assume we mean A/B test. And A/B test and split test, while they're similar to a degree, they are different. Now, an A/B test, just to quickly differentiate between the two, would be when you're testing the material itself among something different. So let's say, for instance, I'm trying to find buyers. I'm going to use an image of a blue home and then an image of a red home, see which one gets more bites. Great. Now that's an A/B test. A split test, you're testing the audience, not the ad itself. Know that over the years of, running ads and helping people find, cost-effective leads, we've been A/B testing everything. We've done this, year after year after year after year until we've found a list of templates, I guess I'd put it, that just work in general. But it doesn't matter what ad you run. Anytime you want one ad running long term, it's heavily recommended you build 3 identical versions of the exact same ad, then let them compete and find you the best, most appropriate audience. Now, the way that this works is when you run an ad on Facebook, Facebook will essentially test the ad among a group of individuals. Typically, it's the first 500 people that have the largest impact. Now, 500 people reached usually happens within the first 24, sometimes 48 hours. At times, it takes up to 72. And I'll talk a little bit more in a sec as to when to start making your cuts, we'll call them. But it's important to understand how this is working. So as soon as you're running an ad, Facebook will start showing, in a sense, basically randomly to people within your pre-chosen targeted area. Now, if somebody sees your ad and they pass by it, they're considered neutral. If they like, click, share, comment, do something favorable, they're put on the positive end of the scale. If that individual was to mark the ad as spam, comment something negative in the comment section, do something Facebook deems negative, well, that individual is placed on the negative end of the scale. At the end of 500 people reached, Facebook looks at your scale and weights things accordingly. So let's just say, for instance, the first, or 400 people have seen your ad, they've scanned it, they're neutral, they have basically no impact on the performance of the ad or the algorithm itself in terms of the demographic, no problem. But now there's, let's say, 70 people on the positive end and 30 people on the negative end. Now, let's say there's been $5. Each of your 3 ads have spent, let's say, $5. Are we ready to make a call as to, who's going to make the team? No. But the first one has already found us, 3 or 4 email leads. The next one's found maybe a couple leads here and there. The third one hasn't done anything yet for the same amount of money spent. Well, I'm not ready to choose between the 2, but I'm certainly ready to eliminate one. So I'm going to kill one right away. I'm going to let the 2 best run forward, and essentially that's how you do it. Every time you want one ad running, let 3 compete for a short period of time, and you'll find within a short amount of time you're able to find the one that's worth continuing running. So that's just one of many little tips and tricks that we have for you. There's so many things that we want to teach you over time, but again, it is much like eating the elephant. You do have to do it one bite at a time. You're not going to come in and learn absolutely everything that we think you need to know in order to make this effective immediately. So the next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to pass it on to Brandon, and Brandon will go through a little bit more of the what's next. What should I do next? The different classes and courses, the insider group, a little bit of everything. So I heavily recommend staying on after his portion as well, where we're going to go through some Q&A and we can answer your guys' questions a little bit better. And yeah, hope that was informative. And yeah, Brandon, please take it away.
Awesome. Thanks very much, Logan. So one of the first things we want to make sure we go over is all the resources that you have available when you start your StreetText trial, some homework for you, and just a few things to get started on. So number 1 is our StreetText Academy. This is going to walk you through all the stuff you're going to have questions about when you first start your trial. What is a split test? How to read your ad performance? How to build a buyer ad? How to build a seller 12 tips ad? When you scroll to how to build that 12 tips ad, if you go to the very bottom, you are going to see the PDF that is going out to your prospects in that very first email. Now, also good to know is when they actually submit their information on the ad, is the next landing page allows them to download that PDF right then and there. So they might not need to click on that link in the email, but it's just something to be aware of. Now, next is you're also going to want to make sure you add your guide on Facebook. We want to get you into our insider group. This is where our community lives, and this is where our community shines. Bar none, we have the best community out there. You're not alone on an island of StreetText. You actually have a group of people that are actually there to help you and help you win and help you succeed. You don't have to reinvent that wheel. You're surrounded by people that are really there for you. And that's what that mastermind on Wednesdays is all about, which I'll show you more here in a second about those classes. But make sure you add your guide here on Facebook. We'll get you to the insider group. There's a ton of good information under this topic section. So make sure you go through that, and we'll get you into here as soon as we can. Thirdly is all of our classes. StreetText doesn't do one-on-ones. We rely on community working together to accomplish a goal and everybody coming together in those classes. So we have classes on automations. If you ever need help on your automations, if you ever want to know more about leveraging your automations, get to that class. We have a conversion 101 that's all about follow-up conversion. We have a Monday to Friday ad help and performance review. So if you ever need help launching a split test, if you ever need help reviewing a split test, or if you have an ad running and you're just like, hey, is my ad performing well in my area? Get to that ad help and performance review class Monday to Friday. Times are always changing, so definitely check in on that. And then we also have our most important class that our community and our guides, all of us, would say you want to get to every single week. And that is our weekly mastermind on Wednesdays. It's where our community comes together. They share their wins. They share the tools, the systems, tricks and tips and things that people can always take from it. There's so many golden nuggets that come from it. As Leon likes to say, free 99. There's so much of that information in this. So it's the one class you want to get to every single Wednesday. And if you can't, check out the recordings. Now you're probably wondering, okay, Brandon, where can I find those recordings? Well, go to your dashboard. In your dashboard, there's going to be this little resource ribbon. It's going to say, StreetText Academy. That's that getting started guide you want to go through. Beside that, you're going to see our StreetText Help Center. It's the same thing as clicking on the little question mark in the top right corner of your dashboard. Anytime you have a question, we always say, go to that help center. It's been completely revamped. It's going to find you an answer to whatever you have a question about as soon as you can search it. So if you have a question about HomeBot, BombBomb, CRM, how to integrate with that, how to edit your automations and your text messages and your emails, just type in a keyword such as editing your automations, type in BombBomb. You're going to see those questions, those answers as soon as you need them. So make sure if you ever have questions, go to that help center first. Thirdly, we have all of our classes as I had mentioned, so you can click on that little button right between the Help Center and the Mastermind recordings to book any of those classes. And then again, those Mastermind recordings. If you can't get to the live version of the Mastermind, definitely check out those recordings. They're super helpful. Definitely recommend that. And then you can see some recent webinars, and then you also do get a refer a friend affiliate link once you hop into that membership. So make sure you take advantage of all those classes and resources that you need. Now, in terms of pricing, all of our billing is billed up front for the term, and then it renews month to month after that term. So our 3-month plan is $750 up front, renews on month 4 at $250. We have our 6-month plan, that's $1,200. That renews on month 7 at $200. And then we have our 12-month plan, which is $1,920 up front, and that would renew on month 13 at $160. This does not factor in your ad spend. So this is where you're going to want to have a conversation with your guide on what to expect for ad spend in your area. Now think about it. If you're in a very highly competitive area where commissions are a lot higher and home prices are a lot higher, well, you're going to expect to spend more on your ads. Whereas if you're kind of in an area where home prices aren't that high, well, then you can expect a little bit lower of an ad spend. But like I said, your guide will be able to work with you on that. So make sure you actually, speak with your guide. And then that's kind of everything for now. So if you have any questions about anything we haven't discussed about, you need a little bit more clarification, feel free to just raise your hand, type in the chat box, and we're happy to help you. And again, we thank you from StreetText for hopping on this demo today, and we look forward to working with you and helping you out. We'll talk soon. Cheers.